So good afternoon everyone, I'm Michelle, this is Kisha, and this is Harrison. We are from TEEP of the University of Hong Kong, and sitting at the back is our project advisor, Dr. Kong. So today maybe let's start with some background information of our team. So here's our agenda. Eczema is actually affecting up to 1/5 people in Hong Kong, and much attention is actually needed. But today we are not going to talk about the disease itself. Rather, we would like to talk about how we as students could actually help our patients and ourselves at the same time with the experiential service learning. So moving on to the objectives, our aim is actually to connect the education and civic responsibility for the students in order to assess the impact of the experiential learning as an approach to academic institutions, and also to explore the impact of service activities led by students to the community. So now let's move on to the methodology part. Our team is actually comprises of 14 students volunteers, namely the content, publicity, and also outreach. So we have actually team-wide collaborations from the content team, which generates some evidence-based content, then to the publicity, which to find the best channel, best channel for the audience reach, and finally to the outreach team, which find the best channels for the reaching out to the public via the offline activities. So since October 2018, where our team was established, we have been meeting very regularly to talk about the future directions and also our goal setting, and also we will also meet our project supervisors. So as mentioned, our model is actually based on this, like targeting the students, academic institutions, and also the community. So our research has actually found that these models is very useful in maximizing the impact of service learning. And as shown here, we actually use mixed approach method of both qualitative and quantitative evidence to assess the impacts. So actually in summary, we're actually approaching the groups based on the parametric model. So for the first model is the overall satisfaction of the students, which is our service recipients. For the second model, second level is the learning, which is the delivery of the messages and also the usefulness. So it's for the students to see if they could really try to deliver the messages. So the third level could be behavior, so whether the students could actually apply what they learned into the daily life and also the daily practice. And finally, when it comes to the fourth level, is the outcome. So whether the students could actually learn from this service learning and also recommend this type of learning to other people. So let's move on to the results.
Thank you, Michelle. Moving on to results, the results of our project can mainly divided into two categories. One is the outreach activities, which includes workshops that we held, and also the content and publicity. So for outreach activities, we have held 5 workshops in total, conducted in either Cantonese or English, and within Hong Kong U or outside of Hong Kong U. And the overall audience reach is over 100 people. And this is the list of the workshops that we've held. And now we have a video to show you guys.
Hi, this is HKU, and this is Jennifer together, and we are part of the TEEP, the Eczema Eradication Project. Together, our goal is to eliminate eczema for 1 million people in the world by 2026. And today is June 1st, Saturday 2019, and we have just finished a 2-hour intensive discussion on how to eliminate eczema. We're a very energetic audience. To health.
Okay, so that was from one of the workshops back in June. And then moving on to the next of the results is the content and publicity. So we collaborated with the Hong Kong Allergy Association, in which one of our team members wrote about her struggles with eczema in the 2019 March newsletter, which was published. And then we also made a social media account on Instagram, and then where we can update our followers regularly on eczema-related research results and news and other tips on how to handle the condition. And at the end of each workshop, we give our audience some survey to fill up, so to let us know how we did and how to improve. We've received an overall generally good comments with words like very detailed, informative, engaging, and all that. We also made an effort to follow up with the patients who attended our workshops. And this is real-life patient sharing, which is written by the patient himself, sent to us a few days ago, actually, and when we were chatting over his condition. So now to this session, we will evaluate the outcome of our project with regards to the objectives that we've mentioned earlier at the start of the presentation. So in our self-evaluation, our members have expressed a higher level of empathy with the community as we are able to connect with the patients and their family when they are sharing their life stories to us. And also by holding these kind of services, we also feel more connected with the society events, more in touch with what's happening right now, as we are out there helping the people instead of just sitting in the classroom and reading off knowledge from the textbooks. So one of our outreach team members expressed in her self-evaluation that you don't have to be particularly good at something in order to contribute, because as a team, you can achieve your goals. And this is because our team is formed by a multidisciplinary member, so we are all from different disciplines and different majors, so we can complement each other in terms of the skill set. And another team member also expressed that civic responsibility includes helping others in any way, and it's not as limited as I thought before. So, and which is some of the feedbacks that were given by our own team members.
So for the next level is about the academic institution. Our focus is actually to nurture the teamwork, empathy, and also interpersonal skills among the students. So in order to facilitate that, we have actually some implications suggested. Firstly, is to reduce the administration's barrier of organizing a student-led projects in order to really motivate students to initiate some projects like that. And secondly, is to increase non-classroom learning, such as field trips, in order to broaden the students' horizon and also make them really get exposed to the community and get connected with them. And finally, is the educated on the morality. Here's also some direct quotes from our service recipients on highlighting how the academic institution changes and regulations, etc., could actually help with the service learning. So you could see that actually the students say that they think, they give ideas, and they interact with other people in a community. So it once again tells us that service learning is really important in helping the students grow and learn as a whole person.
In terms of the implications for the community, I think there are 4 main points. First point is that I think it's a very common challenge for running any projects. It's actually mentioned by our selection committee as well in the review that it's very common to write outputs, how many likes, how many posts, how many events we ran, but it's very hard to track it in terms of its objectives. So we decided to go the extra level that we need to really talk to the people who are working with. It's not that we're trying to feel that KPI of running 5 events, 5 workshops. I think it's not enough. It's more about understanding what they really need. But that's why we purposely make more changes into our workshop formats. Kirkpatrick data limitation is, as they saw earlier, there are 4 levels. At the higher 2 levels, they are challenging to track because you need to identify what happens after 5 months, 6 months. But that becomes a medical kind of presentation later, so I won't go over too much, but there is a limitation in the data that we have, but it is a very good first half step. In terms of doing for and doing with, one of the research discussions is that it's very common to have a charity perspective. We do service for them, that's it, and then we kind of move off. Now, I think it's important to think about doing with, and that goes back to my previous point that we need to align with the community itself by slipping into their shoes, talking to them really, instead of just shopping an event. Apolitical is about an example mentioned by Marcus 1993, and he was talking about how, yeah, we have a service to political organizations, but students just do it in replacement, in lieu of the political ideas, thinking about the broader implications of society. Because our team is, not all of us are medical backgrounds. We have people from education, law, whatever, social sciences, and so on. So we have a diversity of perspectives that we really need to think about it from different stakeholders, patients from all ages and demographics. In terms of the conclusion, out of the last 3 slides on the implication for the 3 different levels of stakeholders. First, some of the key points. I think I won't be able to go over all of them.
I think something very important in each point. First one is self-directed learning, trying to align with initiating something. One of the 5 steps in our roadmap, we mentioned there were scattered discussions. Why the emphasis? Because in the beginning, we often easily follow a structure. Let's have an organization, let's have a team leader, whatever. But we had to discuss a lot to find out really our strengths and weaknesses, and people really do talk about it, name place it, very easily. But we really had to go a month to find out what we really want to do by talking about the problem itself. For the future learning needs, one point I would mention is that it's important to have sustainability as a mindset. Breast cancer awareness, you do it once per year, working for a week. What about the long term? And lastly, for the community, we really need to be more interdisciplinary by having more perspective. And that will conclude. And these are our team members and today's presenters.